counselor, mental health first aider, performance consultant, and member, Forbes Coaches Council. Her key competence include personal development coaching, therapy, emotional intelligence, stress management, anger management, mental health awareness, and management advanced childhood experience, cognitive behavioral therapy, substance addiction, public speaking, attitudinal and behavioral change, a personal effectiveness and mentorship. Coach Diddi is an optimum result coach and has facilitated trainings, workshops, retreats, coaching and counseling sessions in both public and private sector as well as schools. She's a motivational speaker and an advocate of mental health awareness, girl child education, and women empowerment. She speaks English, Hausa, Fulfulde, and Urdu. She's a member of Rotary International Club and Toastmasters. I think you can see the CV of our sister. It's a lengthy one, and I hope, inshallah, we are going to benefit from her wealth of experience. My viewers, I present to you our coach, Coach Diddi Maimuna Ummi Abdullah. Thank you very much.
Allahu Akbar. Alhamdulillah. Thank you. Welcome on board, coach.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
The next on our agenda is the lecture presentation. Honorable Coach Diddi. Coach Diddi, the floor is for you, ma'am.
Okay, assalamu alaikum, everyone. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. Auzu billahi minash shaitani rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. I must reiterate the fact that when I was told to speak here, I was a bit intimidated because I really find it hard to talk from the Islamic perspective because I feel I'm not knowledgeable enough to talk about deen. So I'm going to please beg your indulgence to please forgive me wherever I make a mistake. And when I do make a mistake, which I'm sure I will, please point it out, and inshallah we will learn together. I would also like to please beg your indulgence. I'm not really feeling too well today, so perhaps I'm not going to be as bubbly as I usually am, but I'll do my best, inshallah. So I'm talking about empowered minds, finding balance and building resilience from an Islamic perspective. Again, I must reiterate, from an Islamic perspective, it's new for me. If you tell me to do this as a mental health first aider, cognitive behavioral therapy, and NLP, I will be flowing like a tap. But coming from the Islamic perspective, honestly, that's not my forte, but I will do my best as just a Muslim. Now, disclaimer. I teach mental health awareness. I teach balance, work-life balance in organizations. And I've always said that even before I start that, honestly, I teach it doesn't mean I have it. I really don't have. I haven't been able to create that balance between work and life. And I still haven't really found the balance between my mental health, my building resilience, and even life, to be honest. So I'm not here to speak as though I'm an expert in this. No, definitely not. I'm going to be talking more about what's expected of us to do. So we're going to be learning together. And if I'm talking too fast, please let me know. Unfortunately, that's one of my major problems. I talk a bit too fast, but I'll be a bit conscious. I will be conscious, sorry. Now, what is balance? Because now we don't even say finding balance anymore. We just say integration, work-life integration. So in this case, we are talking about integration, balance, integration between the Iman and life generally, because building resilience, finding balance is basically life. And I believe we all know that life happens to everyone. Now, I believe that balance is a core principle in Islam, because we have been enjoined by Allah to find balance in everything we do. Again, the ustads in the house, I can see there are so many, you would be able to maybe buttress that further. But I know as Muslims, we have been raised, we have been encouraged to find a balance in everything we do. Not too much, not too little, always find a balance. So I think the same thing relates to life, it relates to mental health, it relates to resilience. But before I go on further, before I start, I want to ask a question. Who is the admin, please?
Hello.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum. So I know everybody has been muted. So I'm going to ask a question. So anybody who wants to answer could just please poke the admin and then you be unmuted so that you can answer. Now, we are going to be talking about basically the state of the heart and mind of us as individuals, not just, I'm going to be on the table with all of us. We're all on this table together. But before I do that, I want to ask, what has been weighing you down lately? As for what's weighing on your mind lately? Anybody? What is weighing on your mind lately? Not yesterday, not right now, or maybe just lately, for the last week, for the last 2 weeks, for the last 3 weeks. Anybody care to, if we can have just
You
like,
can,
what has
you
been
can
weighing you
raise
down?
your hand using the icon, the hand icon, raising hand. If you have an answer, and I will enable you to speak if the speaker permits.
Anybody? I can go first. The thing, what has been weighing me down mostly for the last 2 weeks, I think, is my children, to be honest. At some point, it was, I have 4 children, and each of them, honestly, apart from the last one, I think, the first 3, I think throughout this holiday, one of them at a time. And so there was a time all 3 of them were they were weighing me down. Like I was having issues with managing them. They are grown. My first son is going to be 22. My second son is 19. My daughter is 17. So there are some challenges I've been having as a parent, as a Muslim parent who is raising kids today in today's world. So to be honest, they have been weighing me down. My work money has not been coming in as it used to. And so it's honestly, I'm thinking about the things I have to pay for salaries, for rent, for the office, and it's weighing me down a bit. My husband too, to be honest, has been adding his own to the matter. So these are things that have been weighing me down. Now, I want you now to say, what's weighing you down? You don't have to tell us exactly what it is, but we just want to have an idea of what the things that actually weigh people down. So is there anybody who wants to share? Okay, Aminu he has his hand up.
Okay, let me enable him.
Go ahead, Aminu.
Okay. Okay, Aminu Usman, you can unmute yourself.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
So thank you very much for this opportunity and my wonderful presentation and allowing us to also partake in the engagement. What has been weighing me down lately has been so many: insecurity, the economic trend in the society, but personally, then health issues, my children and myself, because the infrastructure for providing healthcare is going down, both in terms of the physical infrastructure as well as the personnel that will now attend to our health holistically from the perspective of Islam. So that has been weighing me down a lot.
May Allah grant you shifa.
Amen.
Thank you for sharing that. Hadiza? Hadiza's hand is up. Admin, are you with me?
Okay, Khadija, I can't find Khadija.
Hadiza's hand is up.
Okay, Khadija James.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I think there's a problem with is it the problem with is it the network, or is she finding hard to unmute herself?
I can't find her again. I'm searching for her name. Okay, what I will do is to Khadija can unmute herself and speak.
Admin, please, I'm the moderator. Just leave me unmuted. I'm the moderator. I've been talking since.
Well, okay.
So one of the things that is weighing me down is the workload from school, student stress. I'm kind of passionate with students, trying to like mentor them and give them the best. And it weighs down on me. Every time I sleep, I wake up is student issue. So that's one of the workload, student issue.
May Allah make it easy. You have to mute Asia. Is it Asia that wants to speak, or you have to mute her? Okay. Are those the only people? Okay, Zainab Muhammad. Is there a last person? If not, can we go on? Admin, is there anybody else who has his hand up?
I can't see anyone raising his hand anymore.
Okay, that's fine. I just wanted some engagement, and I think we are even struggling with it. So let's move on then. But basically, I want us to understand that everybody is going through something. Everybody. My own pass your own or your own pass my own. That's usually the case. But every human being, as long as you're alive, you will be experiencing something. There is a challenge, there's a change you are experiencing which you don't want to experience. So it's causing you stress. And struggling does not weaken your faith in Allah. Not necessarily. It simply means we are human. Now, why it's important for me to say this is because as a mental health coach, I have heard of situations where people are struggling emotionally, mentally. And then people around them tell them, why do you behave like this as though you don't have faith in Allah? Because somehow we believe if somebody has faith in Allah, you cannot have depression. If you have faith in Allah, you cannot have anxiety. If you have faith in Allah, you cannot do drugs. People who have faith in Allah, because the thing about life is that it's like a continuum, it's like a pendulum. I'm sure the ustazas in the house can buttress this fact. The iman goes up and down. Sometimes you see yourself doing tahajjud all the time, having khushu in prayer, even doing the Monday and Thursday fast, and then some other time you relax. I think it's natural. It's a human nature. So sometimes perhaps when you are low in your ibadah or your acts of your iman, you could be going through a challenge and you could actually fall into depression and anxiety. So I think it's important for us to understand that fact. You can be a good Muslim, you can be a practicing Muslim and still have depression. It's possible, So it's important we understand this balance between worship and work, between giving and resting, between sabr and actually taking action. Now, one of the things I also notice in our society, I don't know about Southern Nigeria, but mostly Northern Nigeria, Muslim North, we always think sabr is accepting what is happening and doing nothing. I'm not saying that's what sabr is, of course not. But most of the time, what we are made to understand sabr is compliance, to comply to something, whether it's hurting or not, whether it's wrong or not, just go with the flow, which is not what Islam says. Yes, we should be patient. But I think we have to understand patience doesn't necessarily mean you have to condone what is injurious to your health or what is injurious to your iman. That's something we need to understand. Now, there are times we have all lost balance. That's if you found it. Me, I never find them. I've always said it. I'm categorically clear about the fact that I have never found balance in my life. I have been struggling. So sometimes, I'm good at this part of my life and then I struggle in the other part. And I think most of us, that's where we are. We all struggle. You hardly are good in everything. There's something called the life wheel. It's a helicopter view of your life, like different areas of your life, your mental health and well-being, your health, your career, your savings, your finances, your spirituality, your adventure, your marriage. These are all segments of life. So we do an assessment, like score yourself. We can do that now. Let's quickly do that. I hope I'm not digressing because this is not really the topic, but I think so that I just want us to have an understanding. So imagine your life has 8 segments. If you have a paper and biro there, please could you quickly write it down? 1, your mental health. Are you writing? I hope you are. 2, your career or business, because those who are not working, perhaps you're having a business. So career/business, that's 2, right? 3, your physical health and well-being. Maybe this year we're talking about physical health and nutrition and things like that. 4, mental health was 1. I've already mentioned mental health. Is it 4 now? I'm confused. I'm sorry. Career and business, yeah. Fun and adventure. Family and friends. And then if you're married, usually we just put family, friends/marriage. But I can see most people here are adults, fun and adventure. Thank you. So you can also have marriage if you're married as another segment of your life. How many segments do we have so far? Because I'm a bit blank. I said career, right? Career and business. We said finances/savings. So let's assume we have 8 now. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, please take note. On a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you with each area of your life? Each segment. Take a good look at each segment. Start with perhaps your health. your mental health. How are you happy? How are you with your mental health right now? Do you think you're tip-top shape? You do know there's no such thing as perfectly good health. No. So gauge it. Okay, maybe that would be hard to gauge. Let's use your career or business. How happy are you with it? How good is it right now? Your business is thriving, so you can maybe put a 7. Oh my goodness, I'm happy in this Nigeria. We also doing very well, alhamdulillah. So maybe give yourself a 7. Now, if it's career or business for you as well, but your business is struggling, you're finding it hard to make ends meet, your customers are maybe declining, then you're finding it hard to pay rent for the shop or whatever, you may give yourself a 3. You get the idea. So 1 being the lowest and 10 being the highest. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how is this area of your life? You can just put that aside. I just need you, so you know, it's just for you to have a helicopter view of your life. But now let's go into it proper. Now, whether or not you choose any of this, you are doing the exercise or not, the point is we are all struggling. We are all struggling, but our struggle past. You know, you get some people struggle way past your own. You get some other people way your own struggle past their own. Life is full of challenges. We have good days and bad days. Now, stress is a normal part of life. What is stress? It's basically the body's response to challenges and change. You agree with me? Right now, things are difficult in Nigeria. I just went to H-Medics to buy medicine. And my daughter has typhoid and malaria. And I also went and I think I wanted multivitamins. I spent almost 50,000 naira just this morning to buy medicine. Now, imagine people who cannot afford it. So the truth is Nigeria is a bit stressful. So what is stress? This is exactly what I said. It's the change, the body's natural, reaction to change and challenges. Now, whether you're a Muslim, you're a Christian, we all experience stress. Right? Okay. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so whether you are Muslim or Christian, we all experience stress. Huh? Sorry? Yeah, once here? Okay, to sit over it. I'm so sorry. Okay. I'm so sorry about that. Sorry. Okay. We're talking about stress. Okay. So we all experience stress. So stress is a signal that there's something wrong. It's not a failure. It's just a signal that something is wrong. Something is happening that you're not happy with. There's a challenge going on and it's affecting you. That's what stress is, nothing else. Now, whether you are tall or dark, fine or wawa, you will experience stress. Something will stress you. Sometimes you see the stress coming and sometimes you don't. Now, you may be asking, why is she stressing on stress? Because remember the topic is finding balance and building resilience. Why do we need to find balance? Because of life. Life happens. I don't know that you've heard that. And these days, I even hear they say Nigeria has happened to you. So Nigeria is happening to many people at different levels. So when you're going through that stress, your body is reacting to it. Your mind also reacts to it. Stress on its own is not bad. Like I told you earlier, everybody must experience, even if you are the start of the century, something will stress you because it's natural. So we're not fighting, we're not trying to tell you that, no, don't allow stress. And see whether you like it or not, you experience it. But what we are emphatic on is the fact that stress on its own is okay, but do not allow it to become chronic stress. What's the difference between stress and chronic stress? Stress happens. Something stressed you for a while. Somehow you either find a solution or you either to let it go, or even you didn't let it go over time. The impact goes down. Bottom line is you move on, or kind of move on. Sometimes we don't move on, to be honest. But chronic stress is a stress that is happening over and over and over again without a break. Now, why I need to talk about it is because the underlying cause of many mental health illnesses, like anxiety and depression, and sometimes even substance addiction, is stress. Yeah, but chronic stress. Are you with me? I just need a thumbs up to know if you're with me. Fantastic. Now, what is burnout? Burnout is chronic stress. When you have stress over and over again, I can see from when I saw the videos of people earlier, and even from your pictures, most of you are adults here. So even if you are not married, you shall have family. Even if you are living with in your parents' house at this stage in your life, you are actually contributing, I hope, to your household. So things are not easy right now. So people are going through the stress. Now imagine you are having physical stress. You are having emotional stress. All in this one, you are managing yourself now. The economy is not easy. You are managing your office. You've not gotten that promotion. You've been wanting to get promotion. It has not happened. Not because you are not good enough, but because perhaps the company can't afford to give a promotion, because which means there's going to be a raise and they cannot afford it. So that is eating you up. You have a family, you have kids, you have to pay school fees, you have to pay rent, you have to pay power bill, you have to pay water bill. God help you if you have DSTV and Starlink join. All those expenses are there. So things are difficult, and you are trying to manage Nigeria, you are trying to manage yourself and manage your iman. And whether we like it or not, the truth, I don't know about you, but wallahi, when you're really stressed, do I hear some people say it's not the same? But when you are really, really stressed, wallahi, even ibadah is a bit difficult. Raise your hand if you're with me. Even ibadah becomes difficult when you're very stressed because you can't seem to concentrate. You know, it's supposed to be, you're supposed to be in khushu. We're supposed to stand in front of Allah and forget the dunya for at least 5 minutes and concentrate on Allah. I was having a conversation with my daughter yesterday. She's 13. And I remember I was telling her that, I said, Mina, do you observe khushu? She said, what's that again, Diddi? I said, mindfulness. Do you observe mindfulness when you are praying? She said, honestly, Diddi, most of the time my mind wanders. I said, me too. My mind wanders too. You know what I do? Most of the time, not all the time. I'm not in a khushu all the time as well. But many times I try to imagine myself as an ant and then imagine Allah as a giant. But the image that comes to my mind is the image of Abraham Lincoln. That very huge statue of Abraham Lincoln. Then I imagine myself as an ant at the foot of that image. It helps me to put myself in that state of humility before my Rabb. I said, can you do that? Can you try that? He said, okay, Diddi, I'll try. So you see, it's not, and as I'm telling you this, it doesn't mean all the time, I mean, for sure. No, there's so many times I'm thinking, how much money am I going to make? I'm going to do this training. Hey, that I do it as well. And I think most of us do. But when you're even in a dire need, financial need, or your marriage was on the rocks, or your husband did something, or your wife did something, or your in-laws, see, these are things that happen every day, or your child is sick. Sometimes when you're going through that, wallahi, it's very difficult to be in khushu. Right? And I think that's why we need ulamas to start to talk about mental health. We need ulamas to also have knowledge of mental health awareness so that they can come from the aspect of deen. Because like I said, I'm not good. I don't think I'm good enough to speak about mental health from the side of deen because I really don't have that knowledge. So I'm going to be focusing more on what I have knowledge on, which is basically mental health and cognitive behavioral therapy. So stress is a signal that something is wrong. It could be a constant worry, it could be suppressed emotions, or it could even be unprocessed grief. You are grieving about something, and sometimes it's not necessarily death. There could be something that has happened to you that makes you feel sad and you feel you have lost something. Well, I'm here to tell you that it's okay. If you're feeling something, it's coming from somewhere. That's why we say there is no such thing as negative emotions. You know, people say, anger is a negative emotion, is a bad emotion, sadness is a bad. No, there's no such thing. Emotion is neither negative nor positive. It's just what it is, an emotion. What you choose to do with it could be negative or positive. I hope you understand what I mean. When you're angry, somebody made you angry. Somebody said something or did something that made you angry. You're not a mad person. You're not just walking and then you look at the air and go like, alhamdulillah, it's a beautiful day. And then you get angry. No. Somebody said something, did something, or you remembered something somebody said or did, and you feel angry. So anger itself is not wrong. It's just telling you something. You are reacting to something. Maybe somebody said something that's against your values. So that's just what it is. It is an emotion. But the truth is, our emotions are heightened when we are stressed. Yes. There are certain things that happen and you can overlook and walk past, but when you are really stressed because you're going through some kind of emotional, financial, or mental challenges, you react badly. Have you noticed? Have you noticed that when you are really stressed, you pounce on your wife, you pounce on your husband, you pounce on your children, you pounce on your colleagues. They say one small thing, and they're in trouble. Something that ordinarily you would just overlook as, so it's okay. But when you are really stressed, you don't overlook. And that's why we find ourselves being angry and fighting more when we are stressed. So what can we do? I think one of the things we already know as Muslims is tawakkul. It's easier said than done, actually. It's tawakkul. And alhamdulillah, the beauty of Islam. We absolute faith in Allah. Doesn't mean, of course, we don't feel what we're feeling, but we do believe in Allah. And Islam does not teach us emotional suppression. Unfortunately, our culture says differently, but Islam doesn't teach us emotional suppression. Our culture tells us, no, pretend it's okay, or just take it like that, don't say anything. That's not Islam, and that's not sabr. And I think that's my major problem with when people talk about sabr. Sabr is not, condoning what is evil. It's not condoning what is wrong. That's not sabr. I think we have misrepresented what sabr is. When something is wrong, it is wrong. Do something about it, even if it's a dua. And I think for the ulamas to help me out here, is the weakest of faith, isn't it? When something is not right, you either change it with your mouth, right? Or change it with your hand, or change it from your heart, which is, but we're supposed to actually do something. So sabr is not silent suffering. Sabr is actually steady endurance with wisdom while you actually do something. What is tawakkul? Tawakkul is actually, for me, I think that is the combination of sabr and resilience. I don't know if I'm making sense. Because tawakkul is actually doing your part, doing something about it. For me, having faith in Allah means I believe in Allah, and then I go out and do something. It's like you want to make money, and you don't go and hustle. You won't go and work. You won't go and do anything. You say, oh yeah, Allah, give me money. How does it work? Because there's a hadith that says, I can't remember it again. Like I said, please help me if you can type it in if I say it wrongly. But I think there's a hadith that says the Prophet ﷺ said, make dua and tie your camel. Or is it tie your camel and make dua? Which means, yes, you make dua to Allah, but you do the right thing. And I think that is where we're getting it wrong. That is why many times people are going through something, we just say, yeah, you're making dua. Resilience is dua, yes. It's tawakkul, yes, but it's also taking action. And I think that is where we are lacking. Resilience is sabr, is dua, is tawakkul, and is actually taking action. This thing that is happening right now, what can I do about it? That's resilience. Resilience is the ability to understand that life happens to everyone. It's the ability to understand that, yes, I may fall over and over again, but I could also get up, bi'Iznillah. Standing back up again after falling is resilience. Sometimes you struggle to get up, and sometimes, believe me, you don't even get to up straight. You're a bit maybe bent because of what has already happened to you, but you are not down where you used to be. That's resilience. And I believe that's what Muslims are supposed to do. A Muslim is supposed to be resilient, have tawakkul in Allah, have resilience, and do something. I don't know if I'm making sense. Again, like I said, I am not an ustaza. I don't have that knowledge of deen. We have the ustaz in the house. You could please correct. Now, one of the things I will teach you today that has helped me, and I'm hoping to help you, is understanding the circle of control. It changed my life. The circle of control changed my life. What does that mean? Is knowing what is my responsibility, what is Allah's decree, and what I choose to release today. Let me repeat it. For me, the circle of control, if I would think of it in an Islamic perspective, is what is my responsibility, what belongs to Allah's decree, and what I need to let go of. Right? So if you have a paper and biro there with you, could you please make a big circle? Let me see if I have a paper and biro as well. Make a big circle. Oh, sorry. Yeah, all the paper and biro. Okay. Like this. Can you see this? Make a circle, 2 circles. In the small circle on top, write things I can control. Let me write it so that you can see. I can control. I cannot control. Okay, this is it. In the small circle, write things I can control. In the bigger circle, write things I cannot control. Let me have a thumbs up if you've done that. It's a simple exercise, but believe me, it's life-changing. This exercise, wallahi, changed my life. Because many of the times, people who are worried and stressed about things in their life that have actually led to mental health illnesses like anxiety and depression and even substance addiction stem from things in their lives they couldn't control, but they didn't know any better. So knowing the difference between what you can and cannot control is the cocoa of the matter. It is sense overload. Sorry. I'm sure you are imagining is this supposed to be an Islamic class? Oh, but this is the best I can do. I beg you in the name of God. After this, we'll not talk, but I'm sure Ustaz, I didn't get his name. The Ustaz that started would now buttress it and give it the Islamic connotation. So I need you to think, what are the things in your life you can control? Admin, can you help us, please? If you have something you believe you can control in your life, just raise your hand so that admin can give you a minute. I hope it will not have a problem with it. What do you think you can control? Anybody? Okay, let me give it let me start. You can control what you eat. Yeah, you can, because unless you're an infant, that's when only your parents can give you something and you have to eat what they give to you. But if you're an adult, even a child of 10 now can control, because there are kids who say, Mommy, I don't want to eat this, I don't want to eat that. So you can control what you eat. To an extent, you can control when you want to sleep. You may not fall asleep, because that you cannot control, is only Allah. But you can decide my bedtime is 10 o'clock because I want to rest. I want to be, inshallah, wake up in the morning fresh and go to work or go to school. So you can control relatively when you want to go to bed. You can control your routine. You can control what you say to an extent, because there are sometimes we've said things we regret and we honestly didn't mean, but it did happen. You can control how you talk to people. You can control the people you have around you, the kind of friends you have, which is also an eye-opener here. Just let us be receiving sense. Think about it. As Muslims, the people around you show who you are. So who are the people around you? So just think about that for a minute. So I need you to write about 10 things now you believe you can control. How you think, the way you think, you can control it to an extent. You have this thinking pattern. Everybody's out to forget you. That's the major problem we have. Okay, Tanimu, Aliu Tanimu. Please, can you unmute Aliu Tanimu to tell us some of the things he believes he can control? Or can I do it?
Aliu Tanimu, can you unmute yourself, please?
Architect Aliu, please, you can go ahead.
Good morning. Assalamu alaikum.
Anu alaikum assalam.
I can control what I eat.
Yeah.
One of the example.
Yes. What else?
And I can control how to talk.
Yes.
And I can control the kind of friends that I mingle with.
Alhamdulillah. Irin babu majalisa din nan ba? Irin majalisan nan na
Kwarai da
maganan
gaske.
surutu. Yes.
Thank you very much, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else would want to share what they can control?
Salisu Bashir. Salisu Bashir, can you unmute yourself?
While he does that, you see this, it's a very simple exercise, but believe me, it creates an awareness in your mind that changes your life forever. You can control your spendings. Yes, Sheikh Maidugu.
Yes, I can control my finances.
You can control your finances as well. But Sheikh, we hope controlling your finances as well doesn't mean you are, tampering on what you give your wife to spend as well. Yes, you can control, we know that, but you can be also very generous, I hope. Yes, Khadija, you said something.
Yes, I can control my finances.
Yes, absolutely. Especially, for example, now for many of us, we were talking yesterday with a mentor of mine, and we're talking about how it's important we get girls, Muslim girls, to understand financial literacy at a young age. And believe me, this is what came up. We have to understand that no matter how bad things are, we can learn to save. Saving doesn't really take, it's Abu Baraka, I think, to an extent. When you save something every month. Fantastic. Thank you for that. Now, so if you understand the concept of what you can control, now I need you to understand what you cannot control, because that is the cocoa of the matter. Many times people are struggling in their lives over things they cannot control. And that is what leads to stress. That will eventually lead to chronic stress. And sometimes it leads to anxiety, it leads to depression, and sometimes it leads to drug addiction. You cannot control everything that's happening to you. Let me give you an example. Can you control the weather? These are things I need to. So if you have that piece of paper, please be writing what you can control. I need you to write 10 things. It may seem hard. Just write 10 things you can control. You can control what you eat. When you sleep, like I said earlier, you can control who are your friends. You can control your attitude, your reaction to people, your response to people, right? So now what are the things you cannot control? One, you cannot control the weather. Can you decide rain? No. Can you decide, can you control traffic? In your car, you just go like, abracadabra, this traffic, turn green now because I'm in a hurry. Can you do it? No. Can you control how other people think? No. And I think that's the major problem we have. Can you control what other people do? Hell no, you can't. But many problems we have, especially with other people, which is basically emotional intelligence or lack of, is we try to control what other people do. We try to control other people think. Somehow we feel, no, this is what you meant. I told you this is not what I meant, but you insist this is what I meant. So which means you know how I think. So think back at something that had happened to you recently. When you feel, no, it has to be this way. You cannot control, even your children, you cannot control of. And I'm going to tell you this as a parent. One of the smartest things I ever did was learning to let my kids go, in the sense that I had to learn that, look, they may not be adults. Okay, they are adults because at 18 you're supposed to be an adult, right? But the ability to understand that, look, I cannot make them do whatever I want anymore. My job is to teach them what's right and what's wrong, get malams and ustazas to also teach them and make dua for Allah to please give them sense. That's it. That's the best I can do. But we see people, parents, husbands, especially, I'm not trying to get anybody who want to control. See, men are, let me not digress from the class, sorry. Back to what I was saying. You cannot control other people. You can only influence them. Because there are many times you think you have controlled somebody. Do you really know what the person is doing behind closed doors? You don't. Don't go there. So, okay, I will not go. Then immediately you go to work, she actually goes there. So you weren't able to control her. So sometimes it's more about telling the person about deen, about Islam, about right and wrong. Allah, you will bear the consequences. My job is to show you the road, to show you the path. My question is where control is located on social. Sorry, let me see the question. Admin, there's a question there. I can't see it. Anyway.
Okay, the question is, where is control located on social environment as well as media?
It's pretty simple. You cannot control what other people post, but you can control what you post. You can control what you choose to look at. And I thank you for asking this question, Malam. I mean, I think who was it that said it? You see, the social media, that's the beauty of it, has an algorithm. I hope you know. The minute you there's a post and you like it, or you even watch it to the end, if you notice, you start to see like things like that. So I tell people to do an exercise. Go to your social media post. Look at what comes up on your feed. It shows how you think and it shows what you like. It's pretty simple. You can't control it. Because if you keep clicking on porn sites, there will be porn content on your phone. If you keep clicking on Islamic sites, there will be Islamic sites popping up on your phone. It's that simple. Now, again, you talked about the social relationships, right? The people around you, who you choose to associate with, it shows. Okay, maybe you're doing some things for da'wah, that's different. But if you hang out in a majalisa that is not an Islamic majalisa, you sit down and gossip and talk about women or talk about maybe mundane things and not bring Allah, that's on you. You have to take responsibility. That's why I told you the circle of control is all about taking responsibility. And then, of course, knowing the difference between Allah's decree and your choices that you have made. Okay. I've lost my train of thoughts. What was I talking about? Sorry, where was I? Anyway, I can't remember. But what I need you to do is, please, even after this class, go on Google, go on Pinterest. If you have Pinterest, you will see the circle of control. You see so many. There are so many things. Believe me, the awareness of knowing the difference between the things you can and cannot control is amazing. Many people are suffering from mental health problems because of lack of understanding of what they can and cannot control. And the understanding that no, somebody's out to get me. You see this village people mentality. There's somebody out for me. It's a mindset. I hope you know the difference between the growth mindset and the fixed mindset. The growth mindset is the mindset that tells you, that makes you understand that, you see, life happens. Life is not static, it's dynamic. Sorry, that was call coming in. No, life is not static, it's dynamic. Change happens. That's a growth mindset. A growth mindset is a resilient mindset that makes you understand, yes, I can fall, I can fail, I can make mistakes, but I can rise above it. I can learn from it and do better. While a fixed mindset is what I call the village people mindset. The mindset that tells you, no, everybody's out to get you. Your stepmother, your uncle, your somebody sure did something. You know, we have that mindset. You go to a new office, it always baffles me. I don't know whether it's me, I'm coming with my little thinking. A boss goes to a new office and he will not sit on the last chair. I still don't understand it. He will not sit on the last occupant of that seat. They will not sit there. And they will go and buy a new one. And I don't understand. Maybe it hasn't happened to me. Maybe that's why I'm thinking that way. But I don't really understand it. You know, I tell people, I give an analogy. Two people, they have an important meeting. Let's say with President Tinubu. So you were told yesterday by the chief of staff. You can imagine me and you like this. You say President Tinubu wants to see us. Of course, we're excited. Whatever it is, you know. We were going to the villa. And then as you sleep that night, you make a dua. Ya Allah, thank you so much. May I have a fruitful meeting with President Tinubu. And then you wake up in the morning and you have this headache. I don't know whether you've had that. I used to have a migraine. So this headache that is about, as if your head is about to pounce off. It's as if there's an axe that's going into your head. That kind of headache. And you go like, oh my God, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman. Ya Allah, who sent this headache? Can you imagine that? Who sent it? Because no, I'm going to have this important meeting with President Tinubu. Somebody is out to get me. They don't want me to go for this meeting. That is village people mindset. And that's not Islamic. Do not misunderstand me. I'm Muslim. I know there is sir. Even the Prophet Muhammad was affected by sir. I know there is something called sir. But when you believe everything is sir, when you believe everybody is out to get you, is a village people mindset. One person does that. Then the second person who's also going for that meeting also woke up with a terrible headache. And as he wakes up, I say, Ya Allah, a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, Ya Allah. Then he goes like, oh my God, my darling, please could you give me some paracetamol? I have a terrible headache. I know I have this important meeting with President Tinubu. Are they the same? No, they are not. It's the same headache, but the mindsets are different. When A woke up with a headache, he says his village people, somebody sent it, somebody doesn't want him to prosper, somebody doesn't want him to see President Tinubu. And he's cursing and sending back to sender. While the second person has a headache, the same headache, and he goes like, "Oh my God, what a day to have a headache! Please give me paracetamol. Let me quickly take something to write it down. Let me have some tea, perhaps." It's even the tension of seeing the president. That's what we are talking about. A resilient mindset is the second mindset. Headache happens to everybody. If you're alive, you must experience headache. How is it possible? Somebody said headache. Are you not human? As long as you're human, you will experience headache. So whether the headache comes a day before you meet President Tinubu or on your way to meeting President Tinubu, it doesn't really matter. Just like somebody's walking and they stumble. Somebody put that stone there for me. That's village people mindset. There is stone on the floor everywhere. It's unfortunate you actually stepped on that one and you tripped. That's all. If you have a mindset that everybody's out to get you, you cannot be resilient. You cannot be resilient because you keep blaming everything that happens to you. Now, do you see why it's not connected to the circle of control? Because the circle of control talks about taking responsibility. If you slip and fall, maybe I didn't look well, or maybe I was thinking of something, my mind wasn't there. That's why I tripped and I fell. But somebody sent that stone. Really? Somebody sent that stone? I tell people, look, the thing is, if you start to think differently, your life will change. Because when you start to understand that, see, other people do have a life or they do have business. You are not paramount. You are not that important that people are living their own life to manage your matter. That's the kind of mindset I have. People are too busy with their own lives. I'm so insignificant. But when we cannot sleep, and it's for me, this is the kind of mindset I have. Does that mean there are no village people matter? There are no people that are angry with you and not happy with you? Yeah, there are. That is why we do the Askar every morning and evening. Yeah, let's take them away from us. But attributing everything that happens to you to them, that is village people mindset. Are you with me? If you're with me, please I need a thumbs up so that I know that I'm not speaking to myself. Okay, fantastic. Now, what are the practical tools we can use to maintain balance daily? 1, khushu. I mentioned it earlier. Mindfulness in prayer. We need to have khushu. I am struggling with it, and I'm sure some of you too are. If you're lucky, you're not struggling with being balanced and having khushu, you're lucky. Many times, as I say, Allahu Akbar to start the prayer, that's when I remember, okay, I'm supposed to get a training, I'm supposed to make some money, I'm supposed to do that. Wallahi, that is why Shaitan brings all the monies I'm looking for into my mind. As soon as I say Allahu Akbar. So I am struggling here as well. So I try to maintain presence in my salah. Saliu is laughing, which means perhaps he is not having that same problem. I am. So presence over perfection. Finding ways to be mindful. 1. 2, zikr. I think they say is the I can't remember that's zikr is the remembrance of Allah, right? In English. So finding a way to always make Allah a part of your life. What I did, I'm not doing as much, unfortunately. My major problem is, I'm brutally honest. I used to have alarms on my phone every 2-3 hours that says astaghfirullah. So when it comes up, bing, bing, I just look, it just reminds me to just say astaghfirullah 10 times or astaghfirullah 100 times. Because we are human, life happens. Somehow we just get involved in something and then we forget everything. So and that's why we have devices. Put it on your phone. That's what I did. Every 1 hour, every 2 hours, just slightly silent, and then it should be on my screen. Excuse me, astaghfirullah or bismillah or la ilaha illallah. So at that moment, that reminder makes me do this istighfar. You can also do it. I know most of us have phones. 3, dua. I'm reading this book by Rayyan. Aliyah Rayyan is fantastic. The power of dua. If you know Tarbiyah books, please reach out to them. It is I just started, but it's amazing because it helps you. The way she has broken down dua in that book, it's mind blowing. So if you can also get it, it's called what's it called? Oh, God help me. What is it called? The Power of Dua. The Power of Dua by Rayyan Aliyah. It's beautiful. So dua is basically emotional honesty. That's how I say it too. It's my conversation with Allah. When I make dua, wallahi, my husband used to laugh when I make dua, because for me, dua is a conversation. I have never allowed anyone to be my go-between. Wallahi, I have never allowed that. Alhamdulillah. I have never. The only people I've told to pray for me, I'm looking for something, is my mother, my children, my husband. Said, okay, make a dua for me. But me, no malam has eaten for me to make dua. Because if you can make dua, I can make dua. I have never bought goat that has black eye one side or half black, half white, or uzbillah. I have never done it. I have never bought chicken for malam to do sadaqah. He's going to eat in his own family. Uzbillah, wallahi, need a kind there, another much chicken in. So for me, wallahi, I have never allowed anybody to be my go-between with Allah. I believe, alhamdulillah, I have that relationship with Allah, that whatever I need from Allah, I go to Him. I make tahajjud. I cry in tahajjud. In fact, the person who has suffered most from my tahajjud is my husband, because most of my tahajjud is, Ya Allah, Ya Allah, you know. So I just make my tahajjud. Now, rest is also an act of worship. We need to understand rest and self-care is important. Because I think many times, especially for women, I do a lot of women mental health work. We have been raised in a society that they tell us, no, woman is a giver, give, until let us receive sense. I'm not saying a woman shouldn't be a giver. Yes, we are givers. We are also takers. Women are givers as well as takers. Give and take. That's how it works. So rest is not how will I say? Rest is not a gift. Rest is a fundamental human right that you can give to yourself. When you are tired, please rest. I know you may not understand men because you haven't been raised that way. We have been wired to give. That is the wiring of a woman, especially from northern Nigeria. That is all we've been taught to do. Give. And I'm not saying it's wrong. Wallahi, it's a beautiful thing. But unfortunately, while we're being taught that, we were not taught to also give to ourselves, which is something we are learning the hard way. So when you give and give and give your best, you get tired, please rest. Have you ever seen a gravestone and they wrote she was the most given wife? Have you seen it? Me, I've not seen it. So learn to rest, because rest is also an act of worship. You rest. When you rest, you give better. When you rest, you do better. So learn to rest and practice self-care. Again, this is more towards the women who are on this call. Men already are sad. Lucky for them, they were never really taught that they didn't have to give themselves, perks and enjoy themselves. It's women that have been told that, you're supposed to give the last piece of meat to husband, give the best piece of meat to husband, give the best. Please do not misunderstand me. We're supposed to give to our loved ones the best, but also give to yourself. You're also supposed to put yourself on the same pedestal you put your loved ones. Because if you keep giving and giving and giving, they will not know that you're also supposed to get. That it doesn't mean it's not all the case. It's not the same all the time. Yeah, but it's important for you to understand that you also need to give to yourself as well. I've always said, look, sometimes you can share the last piece of meat together so that you show them you also deserve it. right? And I know perhaps men will not understand here, and I'm not trying to break any table. I'm just trying to make you understand. Sometimes the resentment women feel comes from giving without giving themselves. And silence that follows suit. You know, you don't say you're going through something, you don't do anything, and somehow you expect the man to be a mind reader. So I think that's why it's important to talk. Communication is key. But again, women should learn to rest, and women should also learn to practice self-care. In society, I remember my grandfather, sometimes, I remember my mother was complaining. This is so many years ago. He would stop at Meshai, he would eat Indomie, he would fry egg and drink tea, and then come home. And I remember my grandmother was so upset about it, because I think he was complaining he didn't have money and he didn't leave behind money for food or something. I'm not sure, but I know there was a case like that. And which is basically a lot of cases. We've had so many cases about men who go to Meshai and eat egg and bread, and there's no egg and bread in the house. So remember, Kulu Allah, fear Allah. The ustaz will take off from there. I'm not going to say more. Now, boundaries. Boundaries are important. Now, people think boundaries is a wall you create. No, not necessarily. Boundaries is actually a mental wall you create to safeguard your mental health, safeguard your emotional well-being. There are things you should know, you can take, and there are things you cannot take. Those you cannot take, please don't take it if you don't have to. Learn to say no. I know, we are so afraid of being called wicked. Sometimes there's something that's not okay, you don't want to do it, but because you're afraid, you don't want them to say you're a bad person. I think the most important person is Allah. If you know this thing, I cannot do it not because I don't want to do it, or to be honest, sometimes I just don't want to do it, and that's okay. But nobody dies because I didn't want to do it. We have this problem with, I don't know whether we think it's etiquette. You had a long day, long week at work, and maybe you work in this really high pressure office or career, and then that weekend you're looking forward to, because you're even feeling you're a bit dizzy, you are a bit feverish, you are hoping that this weekend you want to rest. And then somebody said, I'm going to come and see you this weekend. And you're finding it hard to say. See, please do not misunderstand. We all understand where we are supposed to honor our friends, honor our neighbors, honor our families, but we misunderstand the fact that we also matter. You are going through something, you are so tired, you need a break, you need a day to just chill, stay at home. The only thing that makes you get out of bed is salah. You are allowed to give that to yourself. So no is a complete sentence. No need for explanations. I'm sorry, no. I'm sorry, no. I explained I was having a class for some girls, and I remember I said, look, I don't know whether because I'm almost 50 now, and just I'm too old to pretend. I said, I'm too old. I'm too old to do what I don't want to do. Wallahi. And again, awareness has made it easier for me. You can say it with respect, with a lot of respect, but I'm sorry, no. And there's no need for explanation. No need. You don't have to. If you want, you can add matter, but I just don't feel like it. I need rest. But somehow we feel if we say I need rest, you are shakara, I'll be what. See, if you need to explain to people. But unfortunately, they will not understand. You want to rest? And as I go again, and then God help you if you have small money. Aye. It's because she has money. Because he has money, you have to put yourself first sometimes. Now, do not misunderstand. I'm not trying to tell you to be selfish. No. But there are times we need to be selfish. And I think that's what we do not understand. We should be selfless most of the time. As much as possible, be selfless. But there are times you need to be selfish, wallahi, for your sanity. There are days I cannot do something, you cannot take something, don't. There's nobody's life on the line, right? It's not like somebody's about to die, you're supposed to say, no, that's not it. Then you're allowed to say no. So boundaries, believe me, is self-respect. Respect yourself respect yourself enough to know that things you just cannot do, or you just don't want to, because you need rest. Rest is important. Have you not had people with deployment just like that? He's dead. Yes, it's Allah that takes life. But it's your job to take care of you. Those who work hard all the time, you work from morning. Some people work on Monday to Sunday. They go to work Monday to Sunday. They don't take leave because they're on a nice table that they don't want people to know the small money that's coming on that table. So they will never go on leave. What kind of life is that? Rest is a part of life. You see, the white man that decided to have annual leave is not mad. Annual leave is necessary so that you can just detox. Take a rest. So please rest when you need to. I'm going to close with this. Allah does not burden a soul beyond what it can bear. Allah does not burden a soul beyond what it can bear. Now, I'm not going to pretend I know. I even try to say, know what you're going through. We're all different. We all have different trials in life. But Allah does not ask you to also carry it alone. You don't have to carry it alone, which is the importance of social connection. We are social beings. We have family, we have friends. You should have someone you love and trust that you can talk to. If you don't, let me repeat myself. We are social beings. Allah does not burden a soul beyond what it can bear. Sometimes what it can bear is not necessarily you. Sometimes even your circle, you have people who can help you to bear it. Now, if you do not have a circle, if you do not have a tribe of people, like-minded people you love and trust that you can share your problems with, you are the problem because you're supposed to. There has to be people you love and care about. There has to be people you love and trust. So you don't have to bear it alone, but please let us receive sense and know who we talk to. There are some people that you should know you are not supposed to tell your matter because the whole neighborhood will hear it. So find people you love and trust and share what you're going through. And have tawakkul, wallahi, have faith in Allah. No matter how bad things are, inshallah, the sun will rise tomorrow morning. So whatever you're going through, remember, pain is universal. I'm going to close with this. Pain is universal, which means everybody, every human being, the ustad and the layman like me or laywoman like me, will all experience pain. Something will cause you pain, but suffering is a choice. Let me repeat it. Admin, can you type it in? Pain is universal. Suffering is a choice. Pain is universal. Suffering is a choice, which means we must experience pain. It's not because we are not good enough.
It's almost time, ma.
Yes, I'm closing with this. Pain is universal, suffering is a choice. So whatever has caused you pain or is causing you pain, you probably don't have control over it. It's understandable. But suffering is when you allow what has already happened to you to dictate your life. Something happened to you last year, last week, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. You are holding on to it and holding on to the pain and you are suffering from that pain. That is your choice. May Allah make it easy for us. Thank you for your time. May Allah make it easy. If I made any mistake, I've said anything that has offended you, please forgive me. Again, I had said it earlier, I am not an ustaza, I'm a mental health coach. Although I tried as much as possible to make it Islamic. I'm sure I didn't do so well in that, but please forgive me if I did say anything wrong.
Thank you, ma, for that wonderful lecture. Very insightful and educative. I have more time like that for you, ma. So next on board, we'll call on Dr. Awa as a discussant to give our own for 15 minutes, please. Dr. Awa.
Can I would have to go, please. Sorry, no, I'm so sorry. I don't know if you have, can I just take the questions I have and just go? I'm so sorry, but I really do have to go.
Okay. You want us to take question and answer before we continue?
Yes, because I'm going to leave the call. I'm so sorry.
Okay. So do you have any questions? Anybody has a question? Just raise up your hand, please. I think Amina has a question.
Yes, Aminu can unmute himself.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Thank you so very much for taking us through this excellent approach to mental health. My question relates to, can we situate this in our masjids, or do we need to raise the capability and capacity of our masjids to be able to play this role of coaching us mentally to look out for all these things? Because we have the Muslim infrastructure for conducting these things, and the masjids are central to it. But you find that our masjids are not coming up to respond to these issues. Thank you.
Okay, assalamu alaikum. I think absolutely the masjids are, in fact, I don't know about other masjids, but I know at Noor, the people, the admin of An-Nur, I know they are very capable. I don't know whether they have background in mental health, but I do know many of them seem to have a background in coaching. But I also definitely agree with you. I think it's important we integrate mental health awareness in the masjid, because when people like me who are just ordinary Muslims speak, people may not listen because if Yahudanchi, Turanchi, you know. But perhaps if an ustaz or ustaza speaks about it, definitely they will listen. If Mufti Meng talks about mental health, I Mufti Meng a lot. So he talks about mental health. So I think it's really important, and it's definitely time for our ustads, our masjids to inculcate mental health awareness. Absolutely, I totally agree with you. Whether it can be done, who is going to take shift, who will be the person to spearhead that, I don't know. But I think IIT could start to create awareness. Perhaps we could create I would love to, if you are interested, we can partner and have a program, a free program on mental health awareness to teach skills to young ustaz or even older ustaz or imams of masjids or madrasas. I would do it for free, wallahi. Mental health first aid, inshallah, I would do it for free. So if you're interested in it, please let me know.
Thank you so much, ma. Any other question?
We have Aminu Adamu raising his hand.
Okay.
Can you unmute yourself, please, Aminu? Aminu Adamu.
There's Bashir Awal.
Okay.
Yeah, Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Good morning, ma'am.
Morning.
We actually benefited from this lecture. May Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you most abundantly. And I want to suggest, I am the Dawa officer of MSSN, Ahmadu Bello University Zaria. I don't know if I will have your contact. Maybe subsequently we might invite you to have a session like this. Inshallah. Jazakumullah khair.
Absolutely. I would love to. I've put my handle there. I don't want to give my contact, but my handle is there. Send me a message on Instagram. I would definitely share my number with you. My handle is Coach Diddi on Instagram.
Okay.
Just say it's you from the MSSN. Send me a message, inshallah, and I will give you my personal number, inshallah. I'll also
Okay,
give you my assistant's number because, to be honest, even my matter, honestly, I'm a hustler. The hustle of it, I always say the hustle of a coach. I'm hustling. You know how Nigeria is. It's not easy. So I'm going to also share my assistant's number because it's easier to get her and then it's easier for her to handle my schedule. So I'm going to also apologize beforehand. Sometimes I may be very busy. Wallahi but I'll definitely answer.
Okay, I understand, but I don't know. I am not on Instagram, please, ma.
Okay, then can you reach out to admin?
Okay, to inshallah.
This Dr. Hawa, I know Dr. Hawa person. Reach out to her and she'll give you my number, inshallah. Dr.
Okay.
Hawa, I hope she's on the call. Oh, you know what? Let me do this. I can actually share my assistant's number now. So you can just reach out to her and then she will do the needful.
Okay.
No, I'm here.
Okay, fantastic. Dr. I'm even trying to see how to write my number. I'm not seeing it. But Dr. Hawa, please help me with that.
Inshallah.
Okay.
Okay, let him just fill the attendance form. Then later he should get my number. Then I will inshallah share the number with him. Anybody that is interested with the assistant number.
No, I'm sharing the assistant number now. It's fine.
Okay. It's okay. Anybody that is interested in talking to her can talk to me. Inshallah, I'll link you up.
1 minute, sorry. I'm trying to see. You know the problem with old age. I keep forgetting the number. Okay, 0973 811. Wallahi, I seem to forget everything. So her name is Choma. I've sent her number. Just tell her you are the person that she will let me know, inshallah, and then I can take it from there. I guess, is that all? Thank you.
Aminu, let's take one more.
Okay, Aminu.
It's not talking again.
Maybe it's the network. Aminu, are you there?
Muted himself.
Maybe he doesn't know he's raising his hand.
So let's say Ashak Madugu. Let's take that last. Ashak Madugu. Just one more before we. I mean, please unmute. Sheikh.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you, sister, for the insightful presentation. Just to add that the issue of mental health is very critical, and we tend to ignore it, and it is actually creating havoc in our family life as well as at the societal level. So we need to get more of these presentations at different fora. So thank you for this presentation. It has created awareness. I also need to add that the issue of saying no, creating time for ourselves is very critical. I have observed of recent that even on the part of the ustaz, our scholars, even though there is no any empirical study, but due to their lifestyle, sedentary lifestyle, and the host of engagements that they create for themselves and the pressure of the society, unfortunately, there is no empirical study to portray that, but I have observed that Astaghfirullah, at later age, most of them develop health complications. You see most of our scholars having stroke in later life, even though there is no empirical study to find a correlation between that. But I think that that issue of putting pressure on ourselves, not saying no, not creating lifestyle, work balance is very critical. And I think just as recommended by one of our participants, we need to create that awareness at the most level, so that in our masajids, we, just like you say, train the imams, so that they can also be vanguards and then create further awareness on this. Thank you very much. I would say Jazakumullahu khairan, and we will also explore the possibility of collaboration, just like you have offered. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you abundantly. We will get the contact, and inshallah, we'll create more jobs for you, inshallah, fi sabilillah. Thank you.
It will be an absolute pleasure. As you are making so much, most of them sound like ustaz. As you have, I've told someone, you are getting so much reward when you talk about Allah and talk about deen. So you can imagine the small reward me will get if I teach you mental health and then you teach it in your masjid. Inshallah, may Allah make it easy for us all.
So thank you, Coach Diddi. So we can release you now. We're grateful.
Thank you. Jazakallah khairan. Thank you for your time.
Raising his hand.
No, I think we'll keep whatever the question they should write it down. Probably we'll get back to them. So we'll have to release that to go now.
Jazakallah khairan. Jazakallah khairan.
Nice meeting.
Thank you.
Okay. I don't know if our chairperson is around, Dr. Hadiza Nuhu. Chairperson, Dr. Hadiza Nuhu.